be not afraid, do not fear, go, run and announce to the brothers that he is preceding you in Galilee. In the Galilee of the people. In the place that brother Jesus has prepared, to welcome all his brothers. All those who recognize themselves in the brother Jesus, in the Son of the living God. All those who have allowed themselves to be baptized in his name. All those who live to do his will. All those who live to put into practice his commandments. All those who live to give new life to those who seek him, to who would like to meet him, who would like to see him. We want to see Jesus. Many said then the pagans to Philip, we want to see Jesus. But who will make them see Jesus? If not the one who will make them discover in his own death, the value of the glorification of Christ. Going up on the cross is not a sign of defeat, it is a sign of victory. It means going towards the glory. One goes up on the cross to leave nailed on the cross one's own ego, the old man, sins, vices, everything that separates us from the love-made person. For this reason we embrace the cross, we climb up on the cross, to be able to rise to new life and be able to let ourselves be transported by that cross of light, by that cross of gold, that guides the path of all the people, the only beacon of recognition. For those who want to see Jesus, we want to see Jesus. This is the cry that many today in their hearts would like to proclaim. Brothers, come to this place prepared by Jesus, because here Jesus has preceded you and now he is waiting to embrace you, to console you, to be seen, to be able to converse with each one of you. In the moment one leaves the evil company, in the moment in which one frees his heart from all that is sin, from all that is vice, in the moment in which one comes before this little cradle, tabernacle of God's love, and one kneels with one's heart, asking for mercy to Jesus, to be washed and made new. In the moment in which one is reborn to new life, one sees Jesus, one loves Jesus, one lives Jesus. This is the promise that Jesus made then, and this is the promise that Jesus has renewed now, in these last times, announcing to his maiden, that this is the place that he had prepared and is now ready, to welcome all people. Jesus said, he left it as a testament to his friends, just in the Last Supper, day of handover and passage, day of constitution of the Church of Christ, when Jesus ideally handed over the keys of the church to Simon Peter and to his apostles who remained faithful. So that from that day on they could announce in his name the love-made person to all the people. Well, in that evening, John brings us back to prayer and the spiritual testament that Jesus left to his friends. Do not let your heart be disturbed. Have faith in God and have faith also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms, if not I would have told you. I am going to prepare a place for you. When I am gone and have prepared a place for you, I will return and take you with me, so that you too may be where I am, and of the place where I am going you know the way, for I Jesus am the way, the truth and the life. These words are fulfilled in this place that Matthew, in the page we have heard today, calls the Galilee of the peoples, and invites everyone to go up the mountain, because Jesus there would have waited for them, would have spoken to them, would have united them, and would have manifested himself as true God and true man. Not a ghost, but the risen one. He who has conquered death and has given life to all those who embracing his cross, a cross not of death but of glory, of resurrection, want in their turn to be born again and live, no longer to survive. You do not be afraid, today is the day of victory. Away the anguish, away the fear, away every fear, not for you children of God. You do not be afraid, said the angel to the women. Not you must be afraid. Others from today must be afraid. Others who had thought of locking Jesus in a sepulchre, having also put strong guards, energetic men, who thought they were invincible and the earthquake of God was enough to upset those men, and above all those who had put Jesus in that sepulchre, who had put Jesus to death, then and even more so now. Denying the sacrifice of the Son of God. Wanting to lock the Holy Spirit in a sort of sepulchre, so that the Spirit could no longer speak, could no longer act, foolish and slow of heart. In a moment the earthquake of God will shock you. A spiritual earthquake that will shake everything and everyone, will open the eyes of many. He will uncover the tomb and will reveal those who are whitewashed sepulchres, full of putridity, of bones of death. And to the children of God the announcement, joyful announcement, away from there, away from what is death, away from what is sepulchre. The risen one is no longer there. The Spirit of the risen God is no longer there. The man God goes before you in Galilee. The Gospel of Matthew is a journey, where this path is well explained, that leads us to understand the Galilee of the peoples. It is the same Matthew who announces the Galilee of the peoples. At the beginning of his Gospel passage, taking up the words that were of the prophet Isaiah, Matthew takes up those words announced in chapter 9 of Isaiah, and re-proposes them. The land of Zabul and the land of Naphtali, on the way to the sea, beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the peoples. The people immersed in darkness have seen a great light. On those who dwelt on earth and in shadow of death, a light has risen. The people who walked in darkness, says Isaiah, saw a great light. On those who dwelled in a dark land, a light shone. Since the yoke that weighed on him and the beam on his shoulders, the rod of his tormentor, you have broken, as in the time of Midian. For a child has been born for us. A son has been given to us. On his shoulders is the sign of sovereignty, and he is called an admirable counselor, mighty God, Father forever, Prince of Peace. Great will be his dominion, and peace will have no end on the throne of David, on his kingdom, that he comes to consolidate and strengthen with law and justice, now and forever. This will be the zeal of the Lord of the armies. Here these words are fulfilled. Matthew several times announced the words of Jesus, that he would resurrect and would wait for his friends in Galilee. Certainly, the words of the prophet Isaiah have a double fulfillment. They are fulfilled at the time of Jesus, when the Messiah physically establishes himself in Galilee. Here is the first fulfillment of those words. Jesus spent his childhood in Galilee. The house of Mary, of Joseph, was in Galilee. He started to preach, to do miracles. And then at the end, as the last moment, he manifested himself in Galilee, on the Sea of Galilee, in that page of the Gospel that John gave us in that "Do you love me?" that we have meditated so much in this church. And in that moment when Jesus manifested himself, already as risen, he was not a ghost, but he manifested himself also physically, in a new dimension, metaphysical. Physical because he was a man. He asked those friends, "Don't you have anything to eat?" A ghost is not hungry, a spirit does not eat, but a man of flesh and spirit, eats and makes eat. Gives himself, so that all may have life and have it in abundance. Here is the gift of one who makes himself living bread and feeds his children. And at the same time to manifest himself so that the children can recognize and touch him, asks them, "Do you have something to eat?" Here is the metaphysical Galilee. Then introduces us to the Galilee of the people, that on this mount, on this hill, we live now, where Jesus descended as it was announced. Here are the words quoted in the Gospels. Here are the Acts of the Apostles in chapter 1, verse 11, when they announce the return on the cloud of the Son of God, just as the baby Jesus descended on the cloud. And here is the Apocalypse, which is dense with words, leading us to live this mystery, the mystery of the New Jerusalem, sung, proclaimed, and which now is not a vision, an end in itself, but a metaphysical city, that concretely takes form, heart, soul and spirit. Just as the Maiden of God had announced, even then, the announcement was transmitted through women. Women protagonists in God's economy. And this church will always bring back to the center the figure of the woman, the figure of Mary. In that equal dignity that God gave to Jesus and Mary, different tasks and roles, but equal dignity, even in the economy of salvation, Jesus the Redeemer, Mary co-redeemer. This announcement given to women, who had to run, to announce to the brothers, where they would meet the risen one. Also here, to a woman, has been given the announcement, to a woman, who with her women, who are called by Jesus, beloved daughters, have prepared this place, for now to make it live in totality to all. Women have always accompanied the path of Jesus. Under the cross there were 3 Marys. Mary always accompanies the mystery of the Son. Hear that in this time, again women announce that this is the place chosen by Jesus to await the sons. Here is the New Jerusalem. Here is the fulfillment of the Scriptures. Hear that the words heard today are fulfilled, in that living understanding that the Spirit gives us, so that everyone can fully understand the passage that from the physical dimension, leads us to live the metaphysical dimension, of that land called Galilee of the people. Of that land called New Jerusalem, that which is discarded by the world. Here is the periphery, here is Galilee, considered a borderland, in every sense, not the center, the heart of religion. But what was peripheral, on the sidelines? Well, you who are on the sidelines, you who have been discarded by all. Come, here we will welcome you. Jesus, here has descended, above all for you, not only for those who consider themselves healthy and righteous, who need a doctor. The doctor is needed for those who are sick, for those who feel they need to be healed. This church has risen to welcome you. Last, small, sick, especially sick in the spirit. You who have lost your home. You who no longer have a home, because you have fled from what has become tomb and are seeking the house of God. Come here, here there is the house of God. Here is the house of the baby Jesus. He whom Isaiah announced, is he who dwells here, to be able to welcome you and resurrect you, to be able to begin a new life, in Christ with Christ and for Christ. So be it.